Friends, video is too big. If you don't want to watch the full video, then go to the description below the video. There I have written all the chapters and timestamps of the video. Okay, just click on the timestamps, then video will start from where you want to watch. This is very critical Mahabharat book, Dron Parva. And if you want to see our previous videos, then click the channel name or picture below the video, then go to the video or playlist option and click the red subscribe option and press the bell icon for my latest video updates. On seeing that Bhishma had fallen, your son Dushasana used great speed and proceeded towards Drona's army, the brave and armored one, and his own soldiers had been instructed by his brother, urging his own army on that tiger among men now departed. O great king, on seeing Dushasana, the Kurus around him, wishing to hear what he had to say, Kaurava informed Drona and Bhishma had been brought down. Hearing this unpleasant news, Drona suddenly fell down from his chariot. O venerable one, having regained his senses, Bharadwaja's powerful son restrained his soldiers. On seeing the Kurus withdraw, the Pandavas and their soldiers also retreated. They sent messengers on swift horses to instruct the respective soldiers everywhere to refrain from fighting. The kings removed their armor and went to the spot where Bhishma was. Hundreds and thousands of warriors withdrew from the battle. They went to the great souled one like the immortals before Prajapati. They approached the supine Bhishma, the bull among the Bharata lineage. The Kurus and the Pandavas showed him their obeisance and stood there. The Pandus and the Kurus bowed before him and stood there. The great soul Bhishma, Santanu's son, spoke to them, O immensely fortunate ones. Welcome, O Maharathas, welcome. I am delighted to see you. You are the equals of the immortals. With his head hanging down, he greeted them. My head is hanging down. Please give me a pillow. The kings present were brought many soft and delicate pillows that were excellent, but the grandfather did not accept them. The tiger among men laughed and told those kings, O kings, these are not appropriate for a hero's bed. The best of men then saw and addressed Pandava, the Maharatha of the worlds, O Dhananjaya, O long armed one, my head is hanging down, give me a pillow that you think to be appropriate. He honored the grandfather and grasped his giant bow. With his eyes full of tears, he spoke these words, O best of the Kurus, O supreme among those who yield all weapons, command me, O invincible one, O grandfather, I am your servant. What can I do for you? Santanu's son replied, O son, my head is hanging down, O best of the Kuru lineage. O Falguna, give me a pillow, O brave one, quickly grant me one that is appropriate for the bed, O Partha. O mighty armed one, you are the best of all archers. You know about the dharma of Kshatriyas. You possess intelligence and qualities. Having been thus addressed, Falguna quickly prepared to do as he had been instructed. He grasped Gandiva and arrows with drooping tufts. He took the permission of the great souled one who was the middle one of the Bharata lineage. He shot three extremely forceful and sharp arrows and supported the head of his senior Bhishma, the best of the Bharata lineage, and learned about Dharma and Artha, was satisfied and praised Dhananjaya for having given him that pillow. Kunti's son was the best of warriors and brought delight to his well-wishers. He spoke to him, O Pandava, you have done well by giving me something that is appropriate for this bed. Had you done otherwise, I would have cursed in a rage, O mighty armed one, this is the way in which Kshatriyas should remain established in their dharma and sleep on a bed of arrows. Having spoken thus to Bibhutsu, means Arjuna, he spoke to all the kings and princes. See what Pandava has given me. I will sleep on this bed until the sun changes its path, until it has traversed. The kings will be able to see me. When the sun goes beyond Vaishravana's direction and the supremely energetic rays scourge the worlds from his chariot, I will give up my life like a well-wisher who takes leave from a beloved one. O king, let a ditch be dug around the spot where I am. Preached by 100 arrows, I will worship the sun. O king, abjure the enmity and give up this battle. Many physicians come to him, those who were skilled in the knowledge of uprooting stakes. They possessed every kind of implement and were skilled and well trained. On seeing them, Janavi's son spoke these words: honor the physicians, give them what needs to be given, and let them go. I have been reduced to this state. What do I have to do with physicians? I have attained the supreme state that is praised by those who follow the dharma of Kshatriyas. O Lord of the earth, when I am lying on a bed of arrows, this should not be my dharma now. O Lord of man, I should be immolated with these arrows on my body. Having heard these words, your son Duryodhana honored the physicians in accordance with what they deserve and gave them permission to leave. O Lord of the different countries, were overcome with great wonder. They beheld the supreme dharma on which the infinite energetic Bhishma was established. O Lord of man, having given a pillow to your father, all the Maratha Pandavas and Kurus again approached the great souled one, supine on that supreme bed. Having bowed before Bhishma, they circumambulated him. Having arranged for Bhishma's protection, all those brave ones went to their own camps in the evening and reflected in great misery. With bodies covered in blood, they retired. The Maratha Pandavas were delighted at Bhishma's downfall. At the appropriate time, Yadava approached the Maharatha Pandavas and spoke to Yudhishthira, Dharma's son, O Kaurava, it is through good fortune that you have been victorious. It is through good fortune that Bhishma has been brought down. The Maharatha was devoted to the truth and could not be slain by humans. He was skilled in the use of all weapons of Partha. This was destiny. He could kill with his eyes, he could burn down with his terrible sight. Thus addressed, Dharmaraja replied to Janardana, means Krishna, we have obtained victory through your favors. Your wrath is defeat. O Krishna, you are our refuge. You assure your devotees freedom from fear. O Keshava, it is not extraordinary that those whom you always protect in battle should be victorious. You are always devoted to our welfare. We always seek refuge in you. It is my views that it is not extraordinary at all. Having been thus addressed, Janardana smiled and said, O Supreme among kings, the words that you have spoken can only come from someone like you. Next chapter 116 Dron Parva. Sanjay said, O great king, after night had passed, all the kings, the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra approached. The grandfather, the brave one, supreme among the Kurus, was lying down on the bed meant for heroes. The Kshatriyas showed their obeisance to the bull among the Kshatriyas. There were maidens everywhere with powdered sandalwood, fried paddy, and garlands. There were women, children, and aged ones, and others who had gathered as spectators. They approached Santanu's son, who was like the this pillar of darkness, there were trumpets, quotations, harlots, male dancers, female dancers, and minor dancers. They approached the aged grandfather of the Kurus. The fighting ceased, the armor was cast aside, the Kurus and the Pandavas discarded their weapons. They approached to they approached the invincible Devbrata, the destroyer of enemies. They greeted each other affectionately according to age, as they used to do in earlier times with the hundreds of kings assembled there. Bhishma looked resplendent. The descendant of the Bharata lineage was as radiant as a circle of gods in the firmament. The kings who honored the grandfather were as brilliant as the gods, worshipped the grandfather, the lord of the gods. O bull among the Bharata lineage, Bhishma bore his pain with fortitude. He was scourged by the arrows, but he spoke to the kings with a cheerful mind and addressed them. My body is tormented with these arrows. I am losing my senses because of the arrows. I wish to have a drink, O king. All the Kshatriyas brought him excellent water pots filled with cold water. On seeing that these had been brought, Bhishma, Santanu's son, replied, O son, I am incapable of using objects of human pleasure now. I am laying on the bed of arrows away from human enjoyment. I am established here, waiting for the moon and the sun to return along their paths. Having spoken in this way, Santanu's son rebuked all those kings, or descendant of the Bharata lineage. He addressed the mighty armed Dhananjaya, means Arjuna, the mighty armed one, approached and paid his respect to the grandfather. He stood there, hands joined in salutation, and asked, What will I do, O king? On seeing Pandava Dhananjaya standing there in absence, Bhishma, with dharma in his soul, affectionately addressed him, My body is burning, I am covered with these great arrows, my inner organs are in pain, and my mouth is dry. O Arjuna, you can use your bow to give me water for my body, O great archer. You alone are capable of giving me water in accordance with what is proper. Having been thus addressed, the valiant Arjuna mounted his chariot. He grasped Gandiva with force and stretched the bow. The sound of the palm against the string of the bow was like the clap of thunder. On hearing this, all the beings and all the kings were frightened. On this chariot, the supreme of Ratha circumambulated the supine one, who was best of the Bharatas and supreme among those who yielded all weapons. The immensely illustrious one invoked an affixed a flaming arrow. While all the worlds looked on, he applied the Parjanya weapon. Partha preached the earth to Bhishma's right side. A clear and pure stream of water arose. It was cool and like Amrita. It possessed a divine fragrance. With that cool stream of water, Partha satisfied Bhishma, the bull among the Kurus, whose valor and deeds were divine. Partha was like Shakra in his deed. Shakra means in Indra in his deeds. At this deed of his, all of the lords of the earth were struck with great wonder. On beholding Vibhutsu's superhuman and extraordinary deed, all the Kurus trembled like cows stricken by the cold. All the kings waved their upper garments in wonder. A tremendous sound of conch shells and the beating of drums was heard everywhere. O king, in the presence of all the kings, Santanu's son was satisfied. He honored Vibhutsu and spoke to him, O mighty armed one, O descendant of the Kuru lineage, you have done something wonderful, O infinitely radiant one. Narada spoke of you as an ancient rishi. With Vasudeva as your aside, you will perform great deeds that even Indra of gods with the other gods will not attempt. O Partha, those who are aware know that you will bring about the destruction of all the Kshatriyas among all the brave men on earth. You alone are the one who can yield the bow. You are the best among men on earth. Like Garuda among the birds, like the ocean is the best among all stores of waters, like the cow is the best among all uh, quadrupeds, like the sun is supreme among those with energy, Himalaya is foremost among all mountains, the Brahmana is best among all classes, and you are the foremost among all archers. Dhritarashtra's son paid no heed to the words repeatedly spoken by me and those uttered by Vidura, Drona, Rama, Janardana, and Sanjaya. Rama means Parshurama. He is beyond all intelligence. Duryodhana is like one who is bereft of his senses. He paid no attention to my words. He will soon be overheld overwhelmed by Bhima's strength and weapons and will be killed. On hearing these words, Duryodhana, the Indra among the Kauravas, became distressed. Santanu's son glanced at him and said, O king, transcend your anger and listen to my words. O Duryodhana, you have seen how the intelligent Partha created a stream of water and is cool and bears the fragrance of Amrita. There is no one else in the world capable of accomplishing this feat. Agneya, Varuna, Soumya, Vayavya, Vaishnava, Indra, Pashupata, Brahma, Parameshtha, Prajapatya, Dhatu, Twatu, Sabitu, and all the other divine weapons among all the men on earth. Dhananjaya alone is the one who knows them. So does Krishna, Devaki's son, but no one else know them. O son, it is impossible to vanquish Pandava in battle. The deeds of the great souled one are superhuman. He spirited in battle. The brave one is the ornament of any battle. He is accomplished any battle. O king, O son, make efforts towards peace. O son, as long as the mighty armed Krishna controls himself in this assembly of Kurus, make efforts towards peace with the brave Parthas. O son, as long as your army is not destroyed through straight tufted arrows shot by Arjuna, make efforts to bring about peace. O king, as long as your brothers and the remains of these many kings remain stationed in battle, endeavor to bring about peace, O son. As long as your army is not consumed by the blazing anger in Yudhishthira's eyes, endeavor to bring about peace. O great king, O son, as long as Nakula, Sadeva, and Pandava Bhimsena do not destroy your entire army, it will please me if there is a fraternal feeling between you and the Pandavas, O son. Let this feud end with my death. Having peace with the Pandavas, O unblemished one, let these words spoken by me be acceptable to you. I think that this will be good for you and for the lineage. Abandon your anger and let there be peace with the Parthas. What Falguna has already done is sufficient. Let Bhishma's death lead to affection, O king, be pacified and let the remaining ones be alive. Give the Pandavas half of the kingdom. Let Dharmaraja go to Indraprastha. O Indra among the Kauravas, do not kill your friends and be censored by the kings. Do not be famous for your evil deeds with my end. Let there be peace among the subjects. Let the king depart cheerfully, O king. Let father and son, maternal uncle and nephew and brother be happily united. If you do not accept my words because you are overcome by delusion and because your intelligence is clouded at the appropriate time. You will be destroyed and will remember all of Bhishma's words. I tell you truthfully that you will bear a great burden, having spoken these affectionate words to Bharata in the hearing of those kings. The son of the one who goes to the ocean become silent. His inner organs were in pain because of the stakes. Uh, Nevertheless, he overcome his pain and control his soul. Next chapter 117. Sanjay said, O great king, after Bhishma, Santanu's descendant had become silent, all the kings again returned to their own abodes. On hearing that Bhishma had been brought down, Radheya, bull among men, swiftly come to him. Partly because he was terrified, he saw the great soul one lying down on his bed of arrows, like the Lord, the god Kartikeya lying down after his birth. The brave one's eyes were closed, his voice choked with tears. Vrisha worshipped the feet of the immensely radiant one who had fallen down, O best of the Kurus. I am Radheya. I have been in your side, but you have always regarded me with hate. He spoke these words. On hearing these words, the aged Kuru used his strength to slowly open his closed eyes and glanced at him. He spoke these affectionate words. He asked the guards to leave, and once they were alone, glanced at him with benevolence. Gangeya embraced him with one arm. Gangeya means Bhishma, like a father towards a son. Come, come, you have always been my adversary and have always sought to rebel me. If you had not come before me, there is no doubt that it would not have been good for you. You are a Kaunteya. You are not Radheya. I have known this from Narada and from Krishna Dvaipayana. Krishna Dvaipayana means Vedvyas and Keshava. There is no doubt about this, O son. I do not hate you. I am telling you this truthfully. I have spoken harsh words towards you for the sake of reducing your energy. It is my view that you hated the Pandavas without any reason. Okay. O descendant of the sun, that is the reason I have spoken many harsh words to you. I know your valor in battle and that the enemy cannot withstand you. I know your devotion towards Brahmanas, your valor, and your supreme attachment to generosity. There is no man like you, and you are like an immortal. I spoke harsh words towards you to prevent resistance in the lineage, in the use of arrows, in aiming at a target, in dexterity, and in the strength of your weapon. There is no one like you with the exception of Falguna and the great sword Krishna. O Karna, you went to the king's capital and as a single archer defeated all the kings in battle. Means Karna's Digvijay. For the sake of the king of the Kurus, the powerful king Jarasandha was invincible in an encounter and prided himself in battle, but even he wasn't your equal. You are devoted to Brahmanas, you are truthful, you are like the sun in your energy and are superior to anyone else. You have been born from a god. You are invincible in battle, you are more than a man on earth. Today, I am giving up the anger I felt towards you earlier. Human endeavor is incapable of overturning destiny. O destroyer of enemies, the brave Pandavas are your brothers, O mighty armed one. If you wish to please me, go to them, O son of the sun. With my end, let all the enmity be over. Let all the kings on earth be freed from all danger. Karna replied, O immensely wise one, I know all this. There is no doubt about anything that you have said. O invincible one, I am a Kaunteya and have not been born from a Suta. But Kunti abandoned me and I was brought up by a Suta. I have enjoyed Duryodhana's prosperity and have no interest in making that false now. My prosperity, body, life, and fame are all for Duryodhana's sake. O one who is greatly generous, I am prepared to give all that up. I have descended on Suyodhana, means Duryodhana, and have always angered the Pandavas. The outcome is inevitable, and no one is capable of counteracting it. Who can overcome destiny through human enterprise? O grandfather, the omens indicate the destruction of the earth. These were noticed and spoken about in the assembly by you. I know everything about the Pandavas and Vasudeva being invincible to all other men. Nevertheless, I am interested in fighting, O Father. You have always cheerfully given me permission to fight, O brave one. Since I have decided to fight, please give me permission. You should also forgive me any harsh and unpleasant words that I may have spoken against you out of anger or folly, and any injurious acts that I may have performed. Bhishma replied, O Karna, if you cannot discard the extremely terrible enmity that has been created, I grant you permission. Fight with a desire to attain heaven. Be free of anger and intolerance and perform the acts of the king to the best of your capacity and endeavor. Observe the conduct of the virtuous. I grant you the permission. May you obtain what you desire. There is no doubt that you will attain the worlds obtained through the practice of the dharma of Kshatriyas. Resort to strength and valor and fight without any vanity. There is nothing more desired by a Kshatriya than a battle in accordance with dharma. I tried for a very long time to bring about peace, but I was not successful. Where there is dharma, victory will be there. Sanjay said. When Gangeya had spoken in this way, Radheya honored him and obtained his favors. He then ascended his chariot and drove towards your son. This ends Bhishma Parva. And now started Drona Parva. Okay. This is section 65, Drona Visheka, Drona Senapati Parva. Next chapter, chapter 1, Drona Parva. Janmejaya asked, Devbrata was unmatched in spirit, energy, strength, bravery, and valor. On hearing that he had been killed by Shikandi, not Arjuna, of Panchala, what did King Dhritarashtra, with his senses overcome by sorrow, do? O Brahmana Rishi, his valiant father was slain. O illustrious one, his son wished to obtain the kingdom after vanquishing the great archers, the Pandavas, with rathas like Bhishma and Drona. O illustrious one, when the supreme among archers was killed, what did Kaurava do? O supreme among Brahmanas, tell me all this. Vaishampayanas replied, hearing that his father had been killed, so Sanjay was also present in battlefield. After battle, Sanjay told everything to Dhritarashtra. Vaishampayana replied, hearing that his father had been killed, Dhritarashtra, the lord of men, could find no peace. Kaurava was overcome by anxiety and sorrow. The king continually reflected on his misery. Gabalgana's son, pure in soul. So Sanjay was also present in war, in that battlefield. After war, Sanjay told everything to Dhritarashtra. Pure soul again came before him. It was night, and Sanjay had returned to the city of Nagacharya from the camp. The great king, on hearing that Bhishma had been killed, Ambika's son, was extremely distressed, wishing for the victory of his sons. Dhritarashtra lamented in woe and asked, Dhritarashtra asked, O son, the Kurus were driven by destiny after conquering the misery as a consequence of Bhishma, whose valor was terrible. What did they do? The immensely energetic, brave, and invincible one had been killed. The Kurus were immersed in an ocean of grief. What did they do? O Sanjaya, the great army of the great soul Pandavas was capable of leading to the greatest fear in the three worlds. On Debrata, the bull among the Kurus, having been killed, what did the kings do? O Sanjay, tell me. Sanjay said, O king, listen with a concentrated mind to my words. I will tell you what your sons did when Debrata was killed in battle. O king, through was Bhishma's valor when he was killed. Those on your side and the Pandavas thought about this separately. Having thought about the dharma of Kshatriyas, they were both astounded and delighted. Having censored their own dharma, they bowed down before the great soul one. They thought of the infinitely energetic Bhishma lying down on his bed of arrows. O tiger among men, his pillow was made out of straight tufted arrows. Having made arrangements for Bhishma's protection, they conversed with each other. Having circumambulated Gangeya, they took his permission. Then they glanced towards each other, eyes red in anger. Driven by destiny, the Kshatriyas emerged again to do battle. Trumpets and drums made a loud noise. Your soldiers and those of the enemy marched out. O Indra among kings, when Janavi's son fell down, the day had passed. Destiny had robbed them of their senses and they had been overcome by anger. They disregarded the beneficial words that the great soul Gangeya had spoken. The best ones of the Bharata lineage marched out armed with weapons because of your delusion and that of your sons, and because of the death of Santanu's son, the Kauravas, together with the kings, seemed to have been surmounted by death. They were like cattle without a herdsman in a forest that was full of carnivores. Without Debrata, they were extremely anxious in their minds. The best of the Bharata lineage had been brought down. The army of the Kurus looked like the firmament devoid of stars, or the sky without any air, or the earth with crops destroyed, or words without refinement, or the ancient army of the Asuras after Bali had been brought down, or a beautiful woman who is a widow, or a descending river whose waters have dried, or a cow hemmed in by wolves in the forest when the leader of the herd has been killed, or a large mountainous caravan uh, renders impotent because the lion has been killed. The foremost among the Bharata lineage after Janavi's son was brought down. The army of the Bharatas was like a feeble boat being tossed around on the great ocean by a tempest striking it from all directions. it was surely afflicted by the brave and powerful Pandavas, who did not waver in their aim. With its horses, chariots, and elephants, that army was extremely anxious. The men were seen to be distressed and dispirited. The kings and the soldiers were individually frightened. Without their brother, they were submerged in the nether regions. The Kauravas then remembered Karna, who was like their brother himself. He was foremost among those who wielded all weapons, and he was as resplendent as a guest. They resorted to him like a person confronting a calamity turns to a friend. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, all the kings cried out, Karna, Karna, Radheya, the son of the Suta, is prepared to lay down his life for our welfare. Together with his advisors and relatives, the immensely illustrious one has not fought for 10 days. Summon him quickly. While all the Kshatriyas looked on, when Bhishma counted the Rathas in accordance with their strength and valor, the mighty armed one was counted as only half a Ratha. Karnabul among men is twice that. Through he was thus enumerated among Rathas and Atirathas, he is foremost and is rewarded by all brave ones. He is keen to fight with Yama, Kubera, Varuna, and the Lord of the gods. O king, at that time he angrily spoke to Gangeya, O Kaurava, as long as you are alive, I will never fight, O Kaurava, but if you manage to kill the Pandavas in the great battle, I will take Duryodhana's permission and leave for the forest, O Bhishma. But if you are slain by the Pandavas and ascend to heaven, I will kill all those whom you think to be Rathas on a single chariot, O great king. Having thus spoken, the immensely illustrious Karna did not fight for 10 days. With your son's permission, O king, Bhishma exhibited valor in the battle and in the encounter bravely killed innumerable warriors on the side of the Pandavas. The greatly energetic and brave one who never wavered in his aim was being brought down like those wishing to cross with a boat. Your sons threw up Karna. Together with all the kings, your sons exclaimed and said, Karna, this is the time for you to come. He is unassailable in his manliness, and he received instructions in weapons from Jamadagni's son. Our minds turned towards Karna as if towards a friend in times of hardship, O king. He is alone capable of saving us from this great fear, like Govinda always saves the 30 gods from extremely grave calamities. Besampana said, Thus did he speak about Karna, supreme among warriors. Dhritarashtra signed like a serpent and spoke these words to him. Your minds then turned towards Bhakartana Karna. You saw that Radheya, the son of Suta, was ready to lay down his life. Did the warriors succeed in saving the distressed ones? Through in his valor, they were depressed and frightened and shout safely with him, having honored him. That warrior is foremost among all archers. But when Bhishma, the refuge of the Kauravas, was slain, did he succeed in filling the branch, and did he fill the enemy with fear? Did he bring success to my sons who were wishing for victory? Next chapter. Next chapter 979 Drona Parva 2. Sanjay said, on learning that Bhishma had been slain, Atiratha's son, the son of Asuta, wished to save the Kurus, who were like a shattered boat in the fathomless occasion. He bore fraternal feelings towards the distressed ones. He wanted your son's army to cross over. On hearing that Santanu's Maharatha and undecaying son Indra among men had been brought down, Vrishakarna, the destroyer of enemies and supreme among those who wield bows, swiftly arrived. After Bhishma, supreme among Rathas, was slain by the enemy, the Kurus were like a boat submerged in the ocean. He wished that your son's army might be able to cross over. Karna said he possessed fortitude, intelligence, valor, energy, self control, truth, all the qualities of a hero and divine weapons. Humility, affection, and pleasant speech existed in Bhishma. He was always grateful and killed those who hated Brahmanas. These attributes were eternal in him, like Lakshmi in the moon, that destroyer of enemy heroes, has now obtained peace, and I think that all the other warriors have already been killed because everything in this world is assigned by action. There is nothing that is permanent. When the one who was great in his vows has been slain, who can certainly say today that the sun will rise tomorrow? He possessed the power of the Vasus. He was born from the energy of the Vasus. That Lord of the earth has returned to the Vasus again. O Kurus, you should sorrow for your riches, your son, the earth, and the army. Sanjay said, the grantor of boons, the one who was great in his powers, was brought down. Santanu's son was foremost in the world and was greatly energetic. The Bharatas were defeated and dispirited. O king, Karna began to console your sons and your soldiers, and hearing this, the brave ones lamented and shed tears from their eyes as copious as the words of woe. But urged by the kings, they returned again to the great battle and roared again. The bull among the Maharathas then spoke these delightful words to the bulls among Rathas. Karna said, the transient world is always moving. Noticing this, I think of everything as temporary. When all of you were present, how could that bull among the Kurus, who was like a mountain, he brought down in battle? Santanu's Maharatha's son was being brought down as if the sun has restored to the ground. The king are unable to withstand Dhananjaya, like trees against a storm that uproots mountains. With the foremost ones killed, they are dispirited and their bravery has been destroyed by the enemy. I will be their protector now and protect the army of the Kurus in battle just as the great soul one did. Such a burden now devolves on me. I noticed that this world is transient. Since that a skilled one has been brought down in the battle, why should I have any fear about the battle? I will roam around all the field of battle and use my strength to protect arrows to convey the bulls among the Kurus to Yama's abode. Knowing that fame is the supreme objective in this world, I will kill the enemy in battle or lie down myself. Yudhishthira possessed steadfastness, intelligence, dharma, and spirit. Brikodara is equal of 100 elephants in valor. Arjuna has enterprise. I think not 100, 10,000. I think Karna was lying, right? Arjuna has enterprise and is the son of the Lord of the 30 gods. That army is not easy to defeat, even by the immortals. The twins means Nakul Sahadev are the equal of Yama in battle, and that army also has Satyaki and Devaki's son Krishna. It is like that with a gaping mouth. A coward who approaches that army will not return. The learned ones say that austerities have to be countered with austerities and force with force. My mind is firmly fixed on resisting the enemy and protecting my own, O charioteer. I will go and counter the power of those intelligent ones and obtain victory today. I will accomplish these deeds of a victorious man or give up my life and follow Bhishma. I will kill large number of the enemy in battle, or having been slain, will go to the world of heroes. The women and children are crying for help. The manliness of Dhritarashtra's son has been defeated. O charioteer, I know my duty, therefore I will vanquish the enemies of the sons of Dhritarashtra. I will protect the Kurus and slaughter the sons of Pandu, even if it means that I have to give up my life in this dreadful fight. I will kill large numbers of the enemy in battle and give the kingdom to Dhritarashtra's son. Fasten my beautiful golden and bright armor radiant with jewels. Bring my helmet like the sun of brilliance, and my bow and arrows like virulent snakes. Fasten 16 quivers and divine bows. Also bring swords, lances, heavy clubs, and the conch shell that is decorated with gold. Bring my victorious and golden standard with the complexion of a lotus and bearing the marks of a victorious and healthy elephant. Have it cleaned with an excellent garment and decorated it with colorful garlands and nets. Bring swift and white horses that have the hue of the clouds. They should be well fed and bathed in water from golden pots and sanctified with mantras. They should possess golden harness, O son of charioteer. Quickly bring an excellent chariot with nets of gold decorated with gems and with the radiance of the moon and the sun. Let it be furnished with all objects and weapons. Let it be yoked to swift horses. Bring colorful and powerful bows with the supreme of bowstrings, so that they are capable of stringing. Let the large quivers be filled with arrows. Let me be dressed with body armor. Swiftly bring me everything needed for departure. O brave one, let golden and brass vessels be filled with perfume. Bring garlands and adorn my body with them. Let the drums quickly announce my victory. O charioteer, take me swiftly to the spot where Kiriti, Brikodara, Dharma's son, and the twins are. I will confront and kill them in battle, or I will be slain by the enemy and follow Bhishma. That army has King Yudhishthira, who is firmly devoted to the truth, Bhima, Arjuna, Vasudeva, Satyaki, and the Sanjayas. I think that it cannot be defeated by the kings, but even if that who robs everything were to continually protect Kiriti in this encounter, I will confront him in battle and slay him, or I will follow Bhishma's path to Yama. I am not saying that I will go there in the midst of these brave ones, those who create division among friends, and those who are weak in their devotion and evil minded and are not my aides, Sanjay said. He rode out on an excellent, supreme, and firm chariot which possessed a beautiful seat that was decorated with gold. It had a standard and was yoked to steeds that were as fleet as the wind. He rode out the victory. The bull among Rathas on white horses was worshipped by the great soul Kurus. The terrible archer left for the battle and went to where the bull among the Bharata lineage was. The army was large and had standards. Karna's chariot was embellished with gold, pearls, jewels, and diamonds. It was yoked to well trained horses and roared like the sound of clouds. It was as energetic as the sun. The archer was resplendent on his resplendent chariot. He was like the fire in his complexion and like the fire in his brilliance. Adhiratha's Maharatha's son was stationed on his chariot like the king of the gods established on his own Vimana. Next chapter, Dron Parva 3. Sanjay said the great souled and infinitely energetic one was lying down on his bed of arrows. He was like an ocean that had been dried up by a mighty wind. Sabyasachi had used his divine weapons to bring down the great archer and shattered the hopes your sons entered for victory and their armors and their peace. He was like an island for those who wish to cross an ocean that cannot be traversed. He was covered in a mass of arrows like a flows in the river Yamuna. He was like the intolerable and giant Mount Menaka brought down on the ground like the sun which has been dislodged from the firmament and has fallen down on earth. This was a unthinkable and Shatakratu being vanquished by Vitra in earlier times. All the soldiers were confounded at Bhishma having been brought down in the battle. He was the bull among all the soldiers. He was the objective of all archers. Your father, great in his vows, was covered with Dhananjaya's arrows. The brave one, bull among men, was lying down on a bed made by heroes. On seeing Bhishma, the middle one of the Bharata lineage, Athiratha's son, descended from his chariot. He was tormented and his voice was choked with tears. He joined his hands in salutation, having worshipped him. He spoke these words, O fortunate one, I am Karna. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, speak scratched and auspicious words to me today. Open your eyes and look at me. No man can ever enjoy the fruits of his good deeds on earth, since you, aged and devoted to Dharma, are lying down on the ground, O supreme among the Kurus, in filling the treasury, in council, in constructing viewers, in using weapons. I do not think I can see anyone like you among the Kurus. You are united with intelligence and purity. You have saved the Kurus from danger, having deluded the warriors. You are now proceeding to the worlds of the ancestors. O best among the Bharata lineage, the Pandavas will now cause the destruction of the Kurus like enraged tigers destroying deer. The brave Kurus are acquainted with Gandiva's roar and will be terrified by Sabyasachi now, like the Asuras by the wielder of the Vajra. Sabyasachi means Arjuna. In today's battle, the Kurus and the other kings will be frightened by the sound released by Gandiva, like the clap of thunder. The brave one will be like a fire before kindling and will be like a great conflagration that burns down trees. Kriti's arrows will destroy the sons of Dhritarashtra in this way. O illustrious one, whenever the wind and the fire advance towards in a forest, they burn down as they wish. There is no doubt that Partha is like fire before kindling, O tiger among men. There is no doubt that Krishna is like the wind, O descendant of the Bharata lineage. On hearing Panchajanya's roar and Gandiva's sound, all the soldiers will be overcome by terror. The destroyer of enemies will advance on a chariot with a monkey on a banner. O brave one, without you, the king will not be able to withstand that sound. Other than you, who among the kings is capable of fighting with Arjuna on the field of battle? The learned ones speak about his celestial deeds. The encounter between the intelligence one and Triambakas was superhuman. As a result of this, he obtained a boon that is difficult for those with unclean souls to get. If you permit me, I will fight with that excellent Pandava today. I am capable of tolerating him. He is like an extremely terrible and poisonous snake which kills with its glance alone. I have placed that or victory at the forefront. Next chapter 4. Sanjay said, when he spoke in this way, the aged grandfather of the Kurus heard him. His mind was delighted and he spoke words that were appropriate to the time and the place. May you be established amidst your well-wishers like the ocean among rivers, the sun among all slaughter bodies, through among the virtuous, fertile ground among seeds and clouds among all beings. May your relatives depend on you like the immortals on the one with 1,000 eyes. Through the strength of your own arms and your valor, you did what brought pleasure to Dhritarashtra's son, O Karna. You went to Rajapura and killed the Kambojas. You went to Giribraja and vanquished the kings with Nagajit and the forefront and the Ambatas, the Videhas and the Gandharvas. O Karna, in earlier times you brought those who dwelled in the Himalayas and Kiratas, who were harsh in battle under Duryodhana's suzerainty. In every such place you fought for Duryodhana's welfare. O brave one, O Karna, you conquered many greatly energetic ones. Ocean, just as Duryodhana, with his relatives, his kin, and his friends, is the refuge of the Kauravas. So are you. I am granting you to auspicious permission. Go and fight with the enemy. I think it's Drona saying, lead the Kurus in battle and bring victory to Duryodhana. You are like my grandson, just as Duryodhana is. According to Dharma, all of us are yours, just as we are his. O best of men, learned ones, say that in this world, association with the virtuous is more important than a relationship resulting from birth. Do not make your relationship with the Kurus false. Protect Duryodhana's army as if it were your own. On hearing these words, Bakatana Karna honored his feet and quickly went to the spot where the warriors were. He saw that large and extensive mass of men, the broad-chested and well-armed soldiers were arranged in battle formation. On seeing the great archer Karna arrived for battle, the Kurus honored him. They slapped their arms and roared like lions. They twanged their bows and made other kinds of sounds. Next chapter 5. Sanjay said, O king, on seeing Karna, tiger among men, stationed on his chariot, Duryodhana was delighted and spoke these words. Now that it is protected by you, I think this army has found a protector. Now do what you are capable of and what seems to be appropriate. Karna replied, O tiger among men, O king, you are the wisest. You tell us someone whose objective is at stake sees things in a way that another person never can. O Lord of men, all of us wish to hear your words. It is my view that you will never say anything that is inappropriate. Duryodhana said, Bhishma was our commander. He was senior and valiant. He was well endowed with learning, possessed knowledge of weapons, and had all the qualities. O Karna, he obtained great fame by slaying large numbers of enemy. The great soul one fought well for 10 days and protect us. He performed extremely difficult deeds and is ascending to heaven. Who do you think should be our commander after him? Without a leader, the army cannot last for an instant in battle. Like a boat in the water without a boatman, just as a boatman steers a boat, a charioteer controls a chariot, a commander ensures that an army is not led astray. You are the best in battle. Look at all the great souled ones among us and find a commander who can succeed Santanu's son. O Venerable One, whoever your mention will be accepted by all us as our commander in this battle. Karna replied, All these supreme among men are great souled, but we should not examine details about who should be our commander. All of them have been born in noble lineages, all of them know how to withstand one's slot. All of them possess strength, valor, and intelligence. They are grateful and modest and do not retreat from battle. However, all of them cannot be the leader at the same time. There must be only one who possesses special qualities. All these rival one another. If one is specially honored, the other will be dispirited or descendant of the birth lineage. It is clear that they will not fight. Among all us warriors, the preceptor is aged and is our senior. Drona, supreme among those who wield all weapons, should be made the commander. He is supreme among those who know the Brahman. He is unassailable. If Drona is made the commander, who can stand against that? He is the equal of Shakra, means Indra, and Angiras in his learning. O descendant of the birth lineage, when Drona advanced into battle, there is not a single warrior among all these kings who will not follow him. He is foremost among all the leaders of soldiers and among those who wield weapons. He is foremost in intelligence, O king. He is also your preceptor, O Duryodhana. Quickly make the preceptor the commander, just as wishing to defeat the Asuras in battle, the immortals choose Kartikeya. Sanjay said Drona was standing in the midst of the army. On hearing Karna's word, King Duryodhana spoke these words to him because of the superiority of your Varna, the lineage in which you have been born, your learning, your age, your intelligence, your valor, your capacity, your invincibility, your knowledge of artha and law, your austerities, your gratitude, and your superiority in all the qualities. I do not think there is anyone among all the kings who is your equal as the protector. Protect us like Vashava among all the gods, O supreme among Brahmanas. With you as your leader, we wish to vanquish the enemy. You are like Kapali among the Rudras, Pavaka among the Vashus, Kubera among the Yakshas, Vashava among the Marutas, Vasishta among the Brahmanas, and the sun among the energy, Dharma among the ancestors, the king of the waters among the Adityas, the moon among stellar bodies, and Ushanas among the sons of Diti. You are the foremost among leaders of soldiers, therefore be our commander. O unblemished one, let these 11 Akshohinis follow your instruction. Create a counter vyuha against the enemy and kill them like Indra against the Danavas. Advanced in front of us like Pavaka's son ahead of the gods. We will follow you like a herd of bulls following their leaders. You are terrible in wielding the bow. You are a great archer. On seeing us stationed at our forefront, stretching your divine bow, Arjuna will not strike. O tiger among men, if you become our commander, it is certain that I will defeat Yudhishthira in battle, together with his followers and relatives. After he had spoken in this way, all the kings exclaimed victory to Drona. They roared mightily like lions and delighted your son. O soldier among filled with joy and wished for the prosperity of that supreme among Brahmanas, with Duryodhana at their head, they desired great fame. Drona said, I know the Vedas and the six Angas. I know about Artha. I am conversant with human knowledge. I am acquainted with the weapons of Triambaka and with many other kinds of weapons. You have described my qualities and I will try to exhibit them, wishing to bring about your victory. I tell you truthfully that I will fight with the Pandavas. Sanjay said, O king, having thus obtained Drona's permission, so Sanjay was also present in Mahabharata war. After battle, Sanjay told everything to Dhritarashtra. Obtain Drona's permission, your son instated him as the commander. In accordance with the prescribed rite, Drona was consecrated as the commander by the kings, with Duryodhana leading the way. Just as in ancient times, Skanda was instated by the gods, with Shakra at the forefront. The man created a mighty sound mixed with the noise of musical instruments. Amidst this noise and joy, Drona became a commander. There were sounds like those on auspicious occasions and the pronouncement of benedictions, minstrel, beards, and recounters chanted praise to the sound of singing. The foremost among Brahmanas uttered benedictions for great fortune and victory. They honored Drona according to the rites, and through that the Pandavas had already been defeated. Next, chapter 6.